As a continuation of my lesson today, I want to cover something like this. I know it looks long and complicated, but it really isn't so. What needs to happen when you have a long problem like this is we need to break it down into pieces. And we got to figure out what we got to do from step A to step B to step C and all that fun stuff. But we got this long old operation, right? We got a minus sign, we got some parentheses in here, we got a plus, and we got two more time signs. What order should we try to cover these operations, right? Should we try to mess with the minus sign right away because it's up front? Should we do it with parentheses because that just sounds right to us? Or should we try to deal with the end part? Hopefully, you all said that we got to go through the steps of PEMDAS, right? Parentheses, exponents, multiplication, division, add and subtract. Now, this right here shows parentheses, right? And you guys would try to jump right onto that and say, hey, we got parentheses, let's knock it out. But the one thing I want you guys to be cautious about, or to be wary about, is that we got something, if I have 4 parentheses 2, yes, it shows parentheses, but what does that actually mean? It doesn't actually just mean 4 parentheses 2, it means 4 times 2. So in your brain, when you see parentheses like that, you gotta just flip it and just know that we're just doing some multiplication between numbers and variables. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break it piece by piece. Right here, this guy is simplified, I'm not gonna mess with it. This guy right here though, needs to be simplified. I got some parentheses in there that I can try to break down. Now, when I go through it, I wanna deal with all my numbers first. And this blue underline, do I have any numbers I can take and multiply? You probably said no, we're just left with that 9, right? And then we got our A's, our B's, and our C's. So I'm gonna have some A's, I'm gonna get some B's, and I'm gonna get some C's. Now, how many A's are we working with? Well, we got none on the outside factor, but on the inside factor, we got 3. We have 3 total A's, right? And B's, like we see, we got 2, we're multiplying this thing by 2 B's, and we're multiplying it by 4 B's. So that repeated multiplication of the same factor, or the same piece of that being B, is being repeated how many times? It's being repeated 2 times and 4 times, which gets us a total of 6 times. And then we deal with our last guy, which is C3 times C3, which again, we're multiplying by C 3 times, multiplying by C 3 times, that's a total of 6. Cool, we're good there. But we still gotta bring stuff down. This guy, we haven't messed with yet, we can put him up front. Cool. And then drop the minus sign for sure. But that last guy in the end also needs to be modified. Well, we have all these time signs that we gotta mess with. So let's mess with those now. So I'm gonna take it piece by piece by piece. It doesn't matter that it's bang, bang, bang. We still know how to do it. What is 10 times 2 times 2? 40. And then again, like I said, I see A's, B's, and C's. I'm gonna drop my A, I'm gonna drop my B, I'm gonna drop my C. It doesn't matter that there's all those time signs in the middle. As a little tangent, if I have 3xy squared, that is the same as 3 times x times y squared. Yes, they're there, but when you condense it, you can just drop them. Let me erase that because it's all up in our way now. Now, how many A's I got? I only got the one factor of A's, so it's 3, 6, and 6. Drop the plus in. Now that we got these 3 parts, I got my blue part, my light blue part, and my purple part. I gotta see what I can put together. I wanna think in my brain, can I put this guy and this guy together? I'm gonna say no, because they gotta have the same name. If we look at this, we have A2, B3, C9. Awesome. We need to have the exact same name. And to have the same name, you need to have the same variables and the same exponents. Do we have any other factor that has A2, B3, C9? No. But what I do got is I got these guys that are the same. These guys are the exact same. That being said, I can drop the similar name. 3, 6, 6. And I can combine them. I got to think of what is -9 plus 40. -9 plus 40 is 31. And I know it's positive because the 40 is bigger than the 9. And then I could just drop down my friends from before that had no friends. And then just double check, can I put these two guys together? No. This is our final answer. All we were doing is condensing it. I know it doesn't look much prettier, but this had a whole many more characters than that bottom line did. And that's all we're trying to do. I guess I can do one more example on the board. I can do one more example. So I'm going to erase this. Hopefully you can always back it up and pause it whenever. Let me erase this garbage. Ugh. I got to think of another problem on my brain before we even start. So let's get 2a squared b to the 4 times 8a to the 5th b to the 2nd c to the 9th minus, let's do 10 A3 B2 times 2 A4 B6 C2. Long and complicated, right? But we can still deal with it and we can still work with it. So, first thing I see is I see a few operations. I see a times sign here, I see a minus sign here, and I know that this means times as well. So do I want to do the subtraction problem first, the multiplication problem first? Well, when it comes to PEMDAS, we gotta do multiplication and division first, right? So I'm gonna knock out this, deal with it, leave the minus sign, and I'm going to knock out that. We can do all the multiplications on the same step as long as we're not interfering with signs. But first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to say what's 2 times 8? That's 16. And then I got A's, I got B's, I got C's. How many A's I got? Where I got multiplying 2 A's here and 5 A's there. So how many total A's am I multiplying this whole factor by? Well, this whole term by? 7. And then I deal with my B's. I got 4 and 2, which makes 6. And then this has no C's, but that does. So I'm going to plot the guy on the end. And then I'm going to plot down my minus sign. And I'm doing my other side. My other side, I got the same thing. I got 10 and 2, which makes 20. And then I got A's, I got B's, and I got C's. I got 3 A's and 4 A's, which make 7 total. Remember when we multiply variables with the same base, we can add the exponents. And I got 2 and, I know I put 6 there. I meant to put a 4. 2 and 4, which makes 6. And then I got C2, which goes both. Now when I look at this, I got A7, A7, cool, we can keep going. B6, B6, cool, we can keep going. But I got C9, C2. They do not have the same name. They do not have the same name. They don't have the same, they might have the same, all the same variables, but they don't have all the same exponents. So we cannot put these together. So your final answer will be 16, A to the 7, B to the 6, C to the 9, minus 20, A to the 7, B to the 6, C to the 7. And that's your final answer. I hope you picked something up from this, and I will see y'all later.